Hello guys, today I'll be showing you how we can benefit from contained availability groups and the problem which we were facing since the start of the availability group can be resolved using the contained availability group. And the problem I'm talking about is the non-contained objects. Like for example, once we create an availability group, the databases are always synchronized with the secondary replicas, but the objects other than the database objects, like within the database, everything is synchronized, but apart from the database, like your logins on the server level and the jobs, they are not synchronized, and we have to do all those synchronizations manually. So with the SQL 2022, you will no longer be required to manually synchronize those logins and job, and I'll show you how we can do that with a single database and a single login and a job. So let's start. So we will create an availability group. For example, we make it like AG. Here we have to make it contained. So next is, if you already have used the system databases and you want to recreate the availability group and use the existing system databases, you can use that. So the most important point here is that for each availability group, once you make it contained, the master and MSDB will be created for that particular availability group. So this is the most important difference we have to understand, that once we create the availability group and we want it to be contained, the master database and the MSDB will be created separately, and it will be contained inside the availability group. So master and MSDB databases will be per availability group. It would not be like the main MSDB or master databases will be replicated. No. For each availability group, you will have a separate MSDB and a separate master database. So everything from now onwards, once we talk about the contained availability group, it will be from the perspective of availability group. So next thing is, let's create a database. We will just create one database, and that's all. And I'll take a backup quickly. Okay, let's refresh it. We will synchronize this and let's connect to the secondary replicas. Here we have 3 replicas, one SQL 01 and SQL 02 are on the primary side, and SQL 03 is on the secondary side. I mean, like the replica are primary replica is only one. The secondary SQL 02 is within the same subnet. I'll show you that. And SQL 03 is on a different subnet. So these two will be considered like HA, and this will be DR. So we will make the primary site replicas as synchronous and the DR would be asynchronous. I'm just trying to create like the most common way of how we implement always on with AG. Always on with high availability and disaster recovery. So SQL 01, SQL 02, and SQL 03. So see, SQL 01 is on the main site, which has a subnet of 192.168.1, the same subnet for the SQL 2, but SQL 3 has a different subnet, 10.10.1.0. So this is the different subnet, and we'll be using the same IPs in the endpoint URLs as well. And let's use this one. Okay, so we are done with the URLs, and backup preference, it's fine to have on the secondary, and we will create Listner AG LSN. Port is 1433. Then we have to give it an IP from each subnet, 10.10.1.20 and 192.168.1.20. Okay, that's all. I think we'll be using automatic seeding because all of the replicas have same path for the data and log file. Okay, we are good here. And let's finish this one. So it will create the endpoints for all the replicas and using the 5022 port, and then it will create the availability group, and obviously the system databases for the availability group, and at the end it will create the listener and join all the secondaries. Okay, so great. So let's go back and see. Now this is the main important difference, that once we create an availability group which is contained, then we will be having, this is the contained part. So this option, once we say that this is contained, then we will be having master and MSDB. You can see here. Now with this one we have separate separate system databases per AG. So we have AG underscore master, AG underscore MSDB. So now whenever we will create any login or any job, so it will be replicated accordingly. So let's connect to the listener AG LSN, and now you see that from the contained availability group side you see only one database, which is user, but from the primary side, if we directly connect to the replicas, we will see multiple databases. See, we will see the AG underscore master database, AG underscore MSDB, and the AG, this is the name of the availability group. So whatever availability group you have, like the availability group name underscore master and the group name underscore MSDB. So now let's demo one thing. For example, now you see you have these logins, and then you will see you have this the jobs, and let's verify let's verify that we are connected to the listener, but actually it's pointing to SQL 01. And now we will start the test. We will create a login, which is, for example, test login 1, and give it some password and click OK. So now we will have this test login. and we are connected to SQL 01, and we have not replicated this login from our side. It is automatically replicated. Now once we want to failover, so for example, if we want to failover to SQL 02, which is another secondary replica, we just connect to it, and that's all. We will replicate. And you see we have user database as only one database, which is the DB, but it will also replicate, it will also switch and failover the other related system databases, which are MSDB and master. Let's finish. Now we are moving from SQL 01 to SQL 02, and let's see if the login was there already or not. So for example, we will connect to the listener AG LSN, and let's use the test login one, and if it works, yes. So this works fine. And also now we have to see the listener. If we just refresh it, so the listener is now connected to SQL 02. So this is important. See, now we are connected to SQL 02 instead of SQL 01. And second thing is that let's see if the login is there or not. Yes, the login is there, and obviously we are connected to the current replica, which is SQL 02, with the new login. And similarly, for example, once we create a job, which is, for example, like test job 1, and once we create this job, we will say this job here, and from this login, if this has permission, we can see from this login as well. And let's give it a sysadmin for a while. So now we are connected with the test login to the listener, and as long as we are connected with the listener, we will see everything. But keep in mind, all these logins will never be visible on the replica level. So let me explain it again. So once we are connected to all the replicas individually on their direct connect string, like SQL 1 to SQL 1 directly, we will not see that particular login here. See, we don't see that. And similarly, we will not see the job as well. There is no job with that name. Not even on SQL 01, not even on SQL 02. And for that matter, it will not be visible to any of the replicas individually. You won't see it. So why it's that? Because the availability, once we are talking about the contained availability group, then it's all about the perspective from the listener. So now let's see if we can fail back. So our new primary replica was AG 02. Let's wait for a while. I believe it's stuck or something. So yeah, so we will just quickly fail over this one, and that would be all. So thank you so much. That's all for today. And if you have any comments, please leave the comment and I will try to answer. Thank you so much. This is again back to SQL 01. Thank you. Bye-bye.